It's game time, we ain't playing with you. It's game time, it's game time, we ain't playing with you. That's how we ball for y'all.
What up, what up, what up, what up? You're rocking with Duval. Your thanks for joining for episode 97. Round of applause. Yo, thank you for joining me back here. Yeah, what's been going on? War is still going on. Yes, still not happy with being in the war. And Trump, he's been very vague and letting us know why we're in this war. But unfortunately, they didn't listen. Iran didn't listen, and they called his bluff. They still have the stray of the humans shut down, and now he's just like Donald Trump's like, let somebody else deal with this. You know, so we came in there, we did our job, which I don't know what the job was, but supposedly the job was to unarm Iran nuclears. But for like a couple of weeks or months ago, whatever, he said that we went in there before and we destroyed everything. So I don't know why we end up going to war to do that. But according to Donald Trump, that was somewhat the reason why we went there and we did our job. So now it's almost time for the troops to come home because that boots on the ground thing, I don't know, we got caught. I don't know if Iran heard all that stuff because when they heard that, oh yeah, you think about doing boots on the ground, we're gonna light that ass on fire if anyone to touch the ground. So they was like, yeah, we don't want to do that anyway, and that would have been a horrible, tragic situation. Thousands of troops would have died just touching feet on Iran. And right now, even they talked about when they did the F-1 two airplane, they crashed and they shot that down, and now they have one person out there who had aborted, but he's down there trapped in Iran, and supposedly they like Trump's like, oh, if you touch them, it's gonna be consequences again. Man, I think Iran's not trying to hear any of that stuff. So you like they don't want to hear none of no demands. This the only thing demand they want to hear is everybody stop this war and go home, and make this some type of somewhere peaceful. But it just got almost kind of worse because now the stray humans that still shut down. Prices of oils are still rising. Other stuff is going to start rising. But according to Donald Trump, we got plenty of oil. I don't know where we get all this oil. Well, we can have oil for now. You're using our backup oil, but how long is that backup oil going to last? And so now it's just kind of up for grabs when it comes to the stray months because Donald Trump is like, nah, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna worry about that. Whoever our allies are, you worry about that now. But so that's what he had to say when I seen that clip. You know,
Many of which refuse involved in the so to those countries that can't get fuel, many of which refuse to get involved in the decapitation of Iran. We had to do it ourselves. I have a suggestion. Number one, buy oil from the United States of America. We have plenty. We have so much. And number two, build up some delayed courage. Should have done it before, should have done it with us, as we asked. Go to the Strait and just take it, protect it, use it for yourselves. Iran has been essentially decimated. The hard part is done, so it should be easy. So
so for him to say that, that just shows how we got some we got some shots in our armor. Because the United States is supposed to be this big, great, grand army can go to any country and rule and show the that we can do whatever we want. And now it's just looking like we can do it, but our economy is so bad, it's gonna cost us so much money to do it. And we're not in a position to do that. you know. When it comes to just wasting more money on this war, that's not something that we want to even participate in. And now we're gonna put the pressure on the allies. But it's kind of like whoever really opens up this straight, is gonna be probably the one in charge. It's gonna be the one in charge because that's a lot of power. And for now, you can actually tax. You could tax whoever decides to take over, they can tax any country for just having oil ship more. So this doesn't look good because the prices can go up anyway if whoever gets in control of it and decides to tax it. But for us to just say, we're not going to deal with anything, he blatantly looks like he's kind of pushing that on the South Korea because he's saying South Korea used 90% of the oil. Japan, they use a lot of the oil, so he's pushing it on them to really go ahead and here you just take it. We supposedly did the hard part. We went in there and did the hard part. Everything's disarmed for Iran. They can't do this. They can't do that. But if they can't do this, why can't we just go ahead and take it? But if we did the hard part, why can't we take it? But now, if it's so easy, we left it for whoever is up for grab, and that's when a person's going to be in charge of a lot of things when it comes to the power of the oil. But so I had to say again.
Let them all do it. What the hell are we doing it for? The problem with the thing, the Strait, is they can have one terrorist there with a machine gun someplace, and they'll say, "Oh, it's not totally clean," So let them do it. Let France do it. They get a lot of oil from the Strait. Let the European countries do it. Let South Korea, who is not helpful to us, by the way, let South Korea, we only have 45,000 soldiers in harm's way over there right next to a nuclear force. Let South Korea do it. Let Japan do it. They get 90% of their oil from the Strait. Let China do it. Let them all do it. What the hell are we doing it for? Let them all do it.
Man, Trump, you gotta look at this. They didn't start this war, man. They didn't start this war. You started this. They looking at you like, are you serious? You want us to go in there and try to finish this up now? After you started, you'd want rock the boat with them. You'd have just made some type of peace, some type of negotiation. None of these countries would have been in this predicament. So now they're looking at you like, oh man, we don't F with you because you can't protect us, especially our allies like Saudi Arabia, on that Dubai. They like, oh, Iran was lighting them up. They was just sending them missiles to the main places. So they're like, in U.S., you didn't do anything to help us. So now it's gonna be trouble because when they had all these AI conference and all that, they was spending trillions of dollars with us, and I'm sure it wasn't just for our AI. I'm sure it was probably for a little bit of protection if something goes wrong. So now they gotta rethink it like how they negotiate and doing business with the US. If they feel like we ain't the strongest, we ain't the toughest, who is? So it's gonna be a lot of things changing when it comes to this money exchange back and forth because I'm sure a lot of deals is going to be destroyed because they're looking at us like they can't even protect us. They were sending missiles over there, they did nothing. And when Rand even said, "I'll send a missile to France," we can get that over there into Europe. We can send those missiles, and we're not going to help you anyway. And now Trump's saying, "Hey, you should have been trying to to go ahead and get a stronger army, when it came to these type of things." And these countries like, no, we don't negotiate, and we're not doing that type. We're not up on that time. They don't even interfere with this type of conflicts to getting tied into these type of things. So for Trump to just tie everybody in this, it's gonna be a hell of a rodeo because whoever opens that up is gonna have a lot of power. And now you calling out them, calling out those countries to really rely on to open up the strait. That just shows you weren't really prepared or you wasn't thinking the strategy Iran was thinking. Like, yeah, you can go ahead and destroy everything on that on on the missiles and take away their arms, but they have some type of leverage and they're using it and they're using it to their advantage. But no, nobody's going through the strait without nobody's actually going through it now. For them to just shut it down and still have it shut down, it shows you what kind of power they kind of hold. So who's gonna be the next to take the power, since we damn near can't afford it. We was, he's already dealing with so much stuff trying to negotiate for this war that shouldn't have been happening. So we'll be paying attention. We'll see. We'll see who ends up taking the straight in a few months. We'll see what's going on with that. You know. Well, sticking with Donald Trump, man. It's funny about how he just commented on the skit that Drewski just did of Erica Kurt. You know, just telling her, basically kind of advising her, like, yeah, you should just go ahead and put a cease and desist, basically like a lawsuit against all this stuff. And I'm just looking at it like, how how would you even tell her to do something like that, knowing you're not the person to think about being offensive to anybody, or when it comes to how much time everybody makes fun of Donald Trump. Man, there's memes, there's storylines, there's news every day, there's different comedians, there's everything. And it's all fun and games. You play around fun and games. A damn near shoot. You use the news all the time to tell a bunch of jokes. So I'm sure you could take a bunch of jokes. So how are you gonna tell somebody who's just making a, a harmless skit about somebody that's offensive? Like you on their side? Like I looked at it like, man, you always tell a bunch of jokes. You don't care about anything, you know. So why would you even try to comment on that? Because was it too far? Did you think that Drewski went? I think it's comedy. I think it's just pure comedy. When you kind of come upon it, it's just I know you gotta make a joke, this and that, and keep it moving. It's just a joke. You can't take that away from comedy. And I also hear people like, oh, what happened? It was the photos on the other side of the feed. They kind of just pointed out what Candace Owens was saying, like, oh, would she like that? Yeah, and she commented like, yeah, and you don't care. She doesn't care if you do some type of skit. She's encouraging Drewski to do some type of skit just to make fun. It's all fun and games regardless. I like how Elon, because she did try to cry wolf to Elon, saying, how could you allow this to be on your platform, your ex Twitter platform, and him to rack up millions of views. Elon respond like, hey, that's what it's for. That's why the platform's there. We're not censoring anybody. That's why we kind of made the platform. So it's just fun and games. She gotta just, take it the way it is and keep it moving. Keep it moving. Laugh at it, have fun with it. Or take it how you want to take it. If you that's how you really are. If you're not, I don't know. But it was all fun and games. So Drewski, he gonna keep doing what he does. So I hope he doesn't get caught up in any politics type things. Because it's just all fun and games when it comes down to it. And it's just comedy. Everybody makes fun of Donald Trump all the time. Donald Trump makes fun of himself. Everybody makes fun of everybody. It's just a way. If it's comedy, it's comedy. It doesn't take it to the next extent to really keep going or make it offensive. No, he's just saying it's just comedy. So just have fun, laugh, and enjoy what he's put. So but that a lot of now people are talking about, because April the 1st, the astronauts are going back to the moon. They're going back to the moon since what they said, 1979. 1979. So let's take a look at the launch of rock off.
10, 9, 8, 7. RS-25 engines lit. 4, 3, 2, 1. Booster ignition. And liftoff. The crew of Artemis II now bound for the moon. Humanity's next great voyage begins.
Good roll pitch. Roger, roll pitch.
Houston, now controlling the flight of Integrity on the Artemis 2 mission around the moon.
Integrity, AMT high. AMT high.
On time, passing 30 seconds into the flights. Integrity passes the alternate beacon. Target milestone. Mission Control Houston seeing good performance on the four main engines. Space Launch System core stage. Integrity, 3 miles in altitude. Traveling more than 1,200 miles per hour.
So, just seeing that, you know, that just it looks, you know, the great history to really to go to the moon. And I told you know I talked about last time that trying to be the next step of everybody trying to go to the moon. Elon was talking about that. You know, set it to Mars. It's gonna be a while. Let's go try to target the moon. So now it's just my brain and everybody else online. Their brain is like, wait a minute. Okay, this might be actually the first time that they're attempting to go to the moon because there's no way in hell that in 1967, 79, they had the ability to go to space. Or they mean the ability to go to the moon. Because even this launch, they're talking about they're going around the moon. They say they're going to land on the moon. They're going to go around the moon. So that just shows me that they don't have the real technology to land on the moon. You know, it was just it was like, oh, in 1979 they had black and white TV. So how did they have this technology to go to the moon and land on the moon, put the flag, jump around? Yeah, I'm just kind of like, damn, a lot of that stuff it just don't make sense. Don't make sense. Now I can see it probably, we really making some effort to go to the moon, but back in the I don't believe it either. Now I don't believe in 1979. Nah, I don't think we. But it's like so much money was wasted because they said like $30 billion probably took them to really try. I think they launched something, but I don't think they really got to the moon because if we don't have that technology, which Elon just kind of really was celebrating the technology where he had the ship and then come back in the landing gear to land back. We don't have that. We're not there yet to just place ourselves on the moon comfortably and then get back in the ship and go back home. I don't think we're there yet. I mean, maybe we're so close to there now, but back in 1979, I don't think so. So but I think they're getting somewhere. So this is what they showed what it looked like when they were taking pictures of the the outside of the Earth, and this is what they said. This is the first image that they have when they got to the moon, out of space.
Just to share with you. If you could call up the first image. This first one we got to the ground shows the unique vantage point of the crew as they look back at the Earth. It shows a backlit Earth revealing auroras as the crew heads towards the moon. It was taken by Reed Wiseman out of an Orion window, and it features 2 auroras, top right and left and bottom left, and zodiacal light, which is at the bottom right. It's visible as the Earth eclipses to sun. It's great to think that with the exception of our 4 friends, all of us are represented in this image. You could call up the next image, please. This one shows Earth as you can see, the Terminator line. And Reed also took this photo after translunar injection burn yesterday. We have some of the
People are like, wow, this is very good footage, This is great footage, good 4K type footage. Probably people don't believe it, man. I don't know what I'm on the 50-50 cents. I don't 50-50 point to it. I want to believe it, and I feel like we're getting there. We're there. So this footage could be real, but I feel like they lied so much to the public. But I don't feel like NASA will waste so much money and people will go through all this training and all this stuff to just bull. Well, I can't say this. I Is it? Is it? I don't. Is it? Is it? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Is
A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit.
it? I hope it's not. I hope it's not. I hope this real footage that they are capturing that they could bring it back, and then show us because even the astronaut saying it's gonna be the first black astronaut, he commented that he doesn't want it to be about him being the first black astronaut. He wants it to be about I don't know why they say it's a historic first time they're actually going to the moon because I'm like it feels like they're celebrating the first time really going to the moon, but suppose they went to the moon in 1979. I don't know. I don't know. But looking at them footage, sometimes I'd be like,
I said, hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right.
well, we don't know. We don't. We don't know. We don't know. So we'll see how that mission goes. Hopefully, they go around the moon and they do what they need to do, and that comes another step of really getting to this outside space world and leading to something else. But a lot of people don't believe it. They got to just NASA has to do a better job. I don't know. I don't know with live. They're saying they want somebody. Somebody comment said they want somebody to FaceTime them in space. So I just don't know what NASA could do to try to make us believe everything they're doing in their mission because they did lie back in the day, but I feel like they're doing some steps that really is going to change the world, and this is some history stuff that's being made, and they're looking at it like it's possible to actually really go to the moon and come back. But I'm just surprised that they're not really going to land on the moon. That's which is questionable there. But hey, it's all interesting stuff. It's definitely some different stuff that people are gonna pay attention and see what's going on. So I'm gonna keep paying attention to that. Let's get some music news, man. So everybody's talking about the Blue Shiesty, the kidnapping Gucci, well, allegedly kidnapping Guwap Gucci man, whatever you want to call him, with his father and Big 30, his best friend. They FBI got a lot of evidence of leading to him just going to the Greyhound and even footage of him being in the hotel, same thing on. I seen something like I don't know if that's true, but the worst was definitely Blue Shiesty's on house arrest. So I don't know if he's. I don't. I just can't. I don't. That just makes no sense. If you really committed a crime on house arrest, boy, 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 you sure you gonna get it in blood? You gonna live by what you saying, like. But that's what So that's what they had the whole thing with the feds. Had to say from there.
9 individuals, including well-known musical artists, kidnapped and robbed at gunpoint numerous victims at a music studio in Dallas, Texas. 8 of the 9 were arrested yesterday in Dallas, Memphis, and Nashville. These individuals who are charged and arrested include Lontrell Williams Jr., also known as Pooh Shiesty, Lontrell Williams Sr., Rodney Wright Jr., also known as Big 30, Kadarius Waters, Demarion Gibson, DeMarcus Glover, Corday Johnson, Darian McDaniel, and Terrence Rogers has not been arrested yet, but will be soon. The complaint alleges that on January 10th of this year, 3 music industry professionals traveled to Dallas for a scheduled business meeting. Lontrell Williams Jr. arranged this meeting purportedly to discuss the terms of his recording contract with one of the victims. As alleged, once these 3 men were inside the recording studio, Williams Jr. and 8 co-conspirators, several of whom traveled from Memphis, Tennessee, executed a coordinated armed takeover. As alleged, Williams Jr. produced an AK-style pistol and forced one of the victims to sign a release from the recording contract at gunpoint. The remaining conspirators displayed firearms and robbed the other victims of Rolex watches, jewelry, cash, and other high-value items. One of the victims was actually choked by one of the defendants to the point of near unconsciousness. This week,
So I look at it like this: that streets and business is two different things. You definitely got to separate it. Why it just don't make no sense to go do that in 2026. It's 2026. Back in the day, yes, we know about what happened to Ice Cube, that whole situation. You know what happened with Suge Knight, that situation. Even the Locks, they in that little situation. But now, 2026, you definitely got to handle it in a whole different manner, because this type of thing is just technology. You can see everything. Luckily, I think it's going to go down to really if Gucci Man is going to really go through and press charges because everything is kind of evolved around him. When it comes to his people's, he try. That's his artist. So I think if they could, it could possibly, could get released if Gucci Man doesn't pushes this all the way forward. And I think for Gucci Man character and street mentality, he's like, yo, hey, if you want them, you FBI, you do your job. I'm not gonna testify, I'm not gonna take the stand, I'm not gonna provide you any evidence. You go ahead and you got something, this is what you drummed up, you gotta do your job. Because I think it's just the off duty cop that was with Gucci Man. That's probably the one really behind everything that just pressing charges because for him to be in that situation, allegedly, the gunpoint, robbery, he's gonna feel like, hey, somebody gonna have to go to jail for this. But if it down to it where now they need evidence, I don't think Gucci Man is gonna provide any evidence because they just recently went to court and now it's saying the FBI doesn't have enough evidence. They have their little evidence, but it's not a crime to travel to have a meeting. It's not a crime to be in negotiation to try to, but it is a crime to rob, steal. So if they did, that might be the littlest thing they could probably, if somebody wants to pursue them, I think that is, but they don't have evidence that they holding them up for gunpoint unless the actual people cooperate and tell them, yeah, you did do this, you did do this. I don't think Gucci gonna do that. I think Gucci's the streets guy, and that's his artist, so he probably feels something for him, and just like, yo, that's stupid as hell what you just did. You just got out of jail, you just got home. Do I send this young man and rule his whole life, his whole thing over this stupid, or we come to some type of agreement and work out some money that now you ain't got no choice now. Like now you definitely have to work for me if you want your freedom. Like if you want your freedom. But I don't think it's gonna go all the way. I think it's gonna be FBI gonna have to do their own legit, find their own way to get this evidence because they're not gonna give up that evidence. Nobody's gonna be talking. The only way they're gonna talk is everybody in that family type doesn't stay silent and somebody snitches on somebody, then somebody gonna take the fall. Because supposedly I heard his dad's out. I heard his dad's out already. And I suppose he's innocent. I don't know. He's saying he didn't even know it was gonna go down like that. So I don't, we're gonna have to wait until it plays all the way out, but they might have some light at the end of the tunnel if nobody cooperates. It's hearsay is hearsay. You need evidence. You need to prove evidence. And if they ain't got evidence, then I don't think Gucci Man gonna sweat that because he's been through a lot in his life. So that's light work. That ain't nothing to him. So we'll pay attention to see what happens in that case. So sticking on music, yeah, Kanye West, man. Kanye West is back, man. He's back. Back in the states. Back and selling out back-to-back shows at SoFix Stadium, first time. Even the first day, he didn't waste no time. He sold out that thing, 80,000 strong in there. And he brought out Don Tolliver, had him on stage, and then also at the moment with his daughter, North, just doing her songs. So she's becoming a star herself. So it's very special. Special to him to seeing his fans back in the states, U.S. And the second night having an incredible another performance. Bringing with Lauren Hill top. That's dog. That's crazy. And then send and then saying the samples. Different samples of the different songs. When it all falls down, have her do that vocal, the sample too. And then also him just having her do her thing, and then she brought out Bob Marley's son. So for them to have that type of quick performance together, and with the different samples that she's been part of, that it's definitely it was hard. That joint was hard. Especially that her performance itself is legendary. What she does, and how she just always gonna be incredible. When what she did, but then also that Travis Scott, I guess their relationship is cool still. That for him to come back and perform with Kanye West, and I guess they have no problems and all that other stuff. So it's good to see him, and they shut down the stage too. Just looking at the way he just came out with the stage itself. It's like it was like the globe. It looks like it was looked like the moon. He had different things. Looks like kind of he was just on top of the world, basically. Basically on top of the world. But when he was looking behind the scenes, all everything, that would just cost like 3 million alone just to book the stadium and these different lights and different aesthetics and all that stuff. Damn, they can cost them from $10 to $20 million. It's just it's a lot, but it looks big. It looks grand. It looks incredible. So good to see that he's back in the states doing his thing. And then he's getting around his drop for his new album, Bully. I would say listening to Bully. I mean, it looks like one of those. I mean, is it like the best of Kanye? I don't think it's the best of Kanye, but I think for him to what he's at and what he's going through, I think that album will sit on you. Definitely. But he got some tracks on there. I like All the Love, Punch Drunk. Whatever works. Sister and Brother, Highs and Lows. I can't wait. Damn. So those he got some tracks on there. Definitely to vibe out and listen to. So it's different music. I would definitely rock with and listen to. I just would like him to take more in producing wise. I don't know if he's hand to hand, but I would like to hear some more like just different type of vibe or just something different. But if that's how he feeling, that's how his move. But definitely a good album for him. So, it's one of his top fives. I don't know. I don't gotta just listen to it and be the judge to say. But I think not the best, but I think it's good to have him drop music and still see him out perform in the U.S. That's what's really great about Kanye West, and it just shows he still got hits regardless. So he's gonna attract that attention regardless. So, but yeah, I hope he keeps making music. Hope he keeps doing what he does best, producing, making music. Hey, that's what Kanye West is, yeah, or Ye. That's what Ye does. So definitely check out that album, Bully. You know what I mean? Who else dropped? Jazzy. Saying the name. Yes, soundtrack to Get Her Back. That was R&B. I could see why Diddy really attracted to her and made her an artist, but definitely on some '90s vibe. I'm hearing it. Some definitely sampling from the '90s. I like a bunch of her tracks. She did some collaborating with Mary J. Blige. That was tough too. You know, um, yeah, she got a couple of tracks that I'm rocking with that I can't deny. See with her single is hard. Trust me, hold it in, like that. The Santa Monica bar, Lucky. Like I talked about that. Maybe it's hard. And new to this is tough too. So it's not a classic type R&B vibe. Definitely, I would go check out her album. You can get a chance. Would you get a chance? Let's see. So, all music, yo, I seen something so crazy. I don't know how true it is, but it's supposedly in they had a Japanese restaurant, but funny part about this Japanese restaurant, they literally go smack the customers. Like that's something that they people pay them to actually come through. So I guess before they eat, they give him a nice little smack in the face. That it was just hilarious, man. It was hilarious. When I seen that clip, I was like, "What? This can't be real."
I'm telling you, these people are volunteering to get hit. Can you believe it? A restaurant in Japan has come out with a slap in the face stress relief service, where before eating, diners can have a server slap them across the face.
This is some freaky shit.
It started out as just a
it's like
gift
you want
from
to
the
go there
owner,
get slapped
but
when you eat.
unexpectedly people lined
Hey, I
up
know,
to get
heard
slapped.
about happy endings.
So the service
stuff
went
like
from
that,
being
but-
free to having a fee. A single slap costs 500 yen,
Are you
with the number of
crazy?
slaps ranging from 1 to 5.
The double
If you want to
slap.
request a
This can't be.
specific server to do the slapping,
Then you
there's an
could pick
extra 100 yen
a certain
fee.
person
As
did
it
you
turned
like
out, the
that served
popularity
you
only
and
grew.
slap you.
Onlookers would cheer and take photos whenever someone got slapped.
Where are these photos?
And even female
I wanna see
diners
these
were
photos.
eager to give it a try. The owner then leveled up. Female customers can
Let's see
pay
people in
to
the
act as
comments
the
like, yo,
server and
hire
slap
me.
male diners,
I'll easily
making
slap
it a
you.
two-way moneymaker. With such a wild concept, would you give it a try?
So would you give it a try? Nah, I wouldn't give it a try, but I'm sure I'm sure they're going crazy out there, get slapped all up. Crazy things people do, but yeah, I'm not traveling to all the way over there just to get slapped in my face before I eat. Unless the food is good, then it's different. But yeah. So let's get into motivation. Motivation. I need a motivation. All right. All right. So yeah. So it says growth isn't as clean climb. It's a few steps up. It's some slip backs. Basically reset. And then it's another way to push forward. So says if you measure your life as it is supposed to be, one smooth climb, upward line, you're not gonna quite make, it's not gonna be quite easy. It's a real progress is messy. It looks like forward, back, forward again. So people who have success are the ones who just keep taking the next steps. So yeah, I agree with it. So looking at this footage, how they had it, it just gives a great example of like, just trying to push yourself and trying to go to the next level. It's like going up one step, but then falling. You might still fall, but then you get back up, you go to the next step. You fall again, and you get back up, then you go to the next step. You fall again, but you fall again, and sometimes you're falling backwards. You're taking a step back, and you're still falling. And he's going up again and falling again, but he goes back up and just falls again. So I like this scenario and the kind of example watching that. Because even if he's at top, you still might fall, but trying to get back to the top, you're still falling, still trying to get to the top, you're falling again, you're falling again. So I like this scenario that he was showing in this video and demonstrating different things. So you keep falling, you just might stay there where you're trying to take a step up. Just keep falling, So I like that. I like the example that kind of just shows the simulation of light, So really, if you really think climbing is just going to be so easy, and it's not really. But eventually, you'll be at the top and you keep going. So I like that. I like that example. So I took that as the motivation for today. But yeah. So basically, that's what I got for everybody today. But happy Easter, to you and your family. Do a little Easter egg hunting and all that stuff, and I'm gonna enjoy your Sunday. But yeah, that's what I got for everybody today. So thanks for joining for episode 97. Round of applause again. And make sure you check out everything I got. Like I said, music, always out. Go check that out. What I got out. Shit, I'm forgetting what I got out so far. Nah, keep it real. You got to keep it real. What I got, Savage is still, I like that. You know, I still have those going on. Out of control, I also other stuff. You know, still trying to work on put everything together. If we can just slowly but surely, it all comes together. It comes together. You know, but definitely keep an eye on all the videos and all that stuff. And I guess I'll check you next time. So in the meantime, between time, peace.
I love it. You guys are so great.